horror, kaiju, Dragon Ball, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors. Steven here, and welcome to my second Toxic Crusader review. If you were here yesterday, you already saw the first. So here is the repaint, replasticed, I don't know, Toxic Avenger Radioactive Glow version. Yay! It's a glow-in-the-dark version of Super 7's Toxie, and it's pretty cool. Gotta be honest, I kinda like this one a bit more than the original release, which I actually managed to get before the original release. So this one is an Entertainment Earth exclusive, but I do not believe you actually had to get this at Entertainment Earth. I don't remember where I got mine from exactly, but I do know that I got it, one, for MSRP, and I do know that other retailers had it for MSRP, so I do believe if they had a distribution account with Entertainment Earth, they were able to get this. But that's not the point today. Today, we're taking a look at Toxie. So he apparently got a bit more radioactive, and now he is glowing. If you do have the original, is this worth picking up? Or if you don't have the original and you're trying to make up your mind, which one should you get? Well, hey, we're going to do a comparison and see whether or not this one is worth adding into your collection. All right, so this is going to be the exact same sculpt with pretty much no changes whatsoever, except we're going to be using glow-in-the-dark plastic and a couple of changes to the paint here compared to the original release of Toxie, which it came out exactly at the same time, so pretty cool. Now, unfortunately, the issues that were with the original Toxie do carry over to this one, which is going to include those random lines that you're going to see in the actual plastic of the figure. We are going to see some flash marks that are going to be in the figure, and we do have some random chipped paint. Now, this is going to be found on the boots for this figure, as well on the wristband, particularly the right one of mine. So, unfortunately, they weren't able to fix that with this release. As we'll see in the articulation section though, they did fix up something there, which is very good to see. But generally speaking, I do like this figure. I think overall that the different paints that they opted to go with for this guy look very, very good. When we see the glow-in-the-dark features, they really nailed it. I mean, it's not difficult to mess up a glow-in-the-dark figure, but when you actually see how cool this thing looks lit up in the dark, and yeah, it looks that awesome in person, you'll get a good appreciation for this. But yeah, generally speaking, I think Toxie looks nice in this sort of whitish plastic, and the greens that they opted to go with to complement Toxie are awesome. So if you're a fan of the way that Toxie looks normally in his glow-in-the-dark version, yep, this is definitely a nice way to go. But do keep in mind, unfortunately, some of those quality control issues are still present. Toxie's articulation here is going to be identical to the normal release because why? It's a repaint with different plastics that are used. And they did manage to fix something, even though oddly enough, this came out pretty much at exactly the same time as the normal release. Actually, I got this one before I got the normal one. You probably saw my unboxing on the 4th of July for this. Yeah, hope you did anyway. So yes, let's just dive into the articulation, kind of do an overview because it's the same thing. And you already saw that review, right? Right. So head plugs into the neck on a ball joint. So we get nice twisty turny movements rocking around. Let's just go ahead and show that joint real quick. There you go. Nice white plastic. Very easy to swap heads. A little bit more difficult to pop this off than the original, but hey, it is what it is. By the way, you can remove this as well. I don't like to, don't see a reason to do it. You can spin the shoulder around on a swivel and raise it up on a hinge so he can T-pose just like that. Now, the infamous bicep swivel. It is still loose. However, ceteris paribus. Let's go ahead and just show that elbow hinge as well. So this way we can do the same test we did with the original one. And how is that looking? He can hold it just a little bit better. So it is still going to be loose. See? So it is still going to be loose, but it's nowhere near as much of an issue as it is on the original release. So that is good. If you're looking to pose this one, I like to pose this one a little bit more. So yeah, you already saw pretty much all the articulation for the arm. The wrist is going to be a swivel and a hinge as well. For an ab crunch, we do have a hinge, which if you are able to see, probably not, doesn't even really matter. The paint does seem to end for the shirt at the hinge point where it goes into the body. So, I mean, you're never really going to see it, just something I'm pointing out. So yeah, so you can rock it. So he looks up about that far, down about that far with a waist swivel. So you can see, you can kind of get Toxie to do that. Do that. Yeah, whatever. It's all good. Hips, same once again because of the sculpt of that little lip there on the thigh and the way that the hip and waist area is sculpted. So if you just turn it, you can get a little bit more movement there. For the splits, we're looking at about that much. And again, thigh swivel, single hinge knees, boot cut swivel where you can see some paint scuffing out the box. Very good. Hinge at the ankle so you can move it like that. And ankle rocker. Yee-haw. So, Toxie's articulation, pretty good. I like to move this one around and pose it a bit more than the original release. So, if you're looking for something that is improved, hey, this one is better, at least mine is, than the original release. Accessories time, and Toxie here is going to come with the exact same accessories as the normal release came with. He's going to come with the alternate head sculpt, he's going to come with blobby, he's going to come with 3 grenades, he's going to come with a mop with the American flag attached, and a toxic Crusaders shield. So that alternate head sculpt, just like before, I do believe this is intended more so to bring him closer to the Avengers than the Crusaders look, but anyway, here's what it looks like. Pretty cool. All right, so you got a good look at it. Let's go on over to Blobby, who, once again, glow in the dark and pretty neat. So that one does fit on Toxie's shoulder, once again, because there is that little peg that goes on that bomb strap, or whatever you would prefer to call it, that goes across Toxie's torso. We do get the grenades that come with Toxie. This time we get 3 of them, just like the original. And once again, there are little slits that are on that strap on Toxie's chest, which you can line up properly. There are 3 with the grenades, or you can just go ahead and put them on. To be honest, I don't really use them whatsoever. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at the shield, which again is just going to be glow-in-the-dark plastic. But here I do think that the actual emblem that is on the shield looks a little nicer. I think it sort of gets that vibe for sort of that cartoony look, I guess I would say, a little better than the initial release. And once again, we do have the piping on the back to hold the shield all together. The mop actually has a bit more color to it with some yellow bands around the base of the mop and also on the handle, so that looks very good. It still has that noodly appearance to it where it's waving, so that's pretty cool. And the American flag, actually, the decal is the same, but the plastic underneath does look different. Glow-in-the-dark plastic. I will say, though, which we're going to take a look at pretty much once we end this section, for that and the handle of the mop, unfortunately, it doesn't really glow in the dark, as well as Toxie and the rest of everything else. Yes, very cool. So I was able to actually not only hit this thing with a little bit of black light, but also with very, very bright lights. Studio lights, letting them sit there for a bit. This is what we get. A little bit of camera trickery here just because, you know, different exposure and so forth. But yeah, this is basically how he looks in real life. I'm not trying to really fool you here. I mean, this is what you're getting. And it is very, very impressive. And now here are going to be some still shots, so this way you can see what he looks like up close and personal. I know in the beginning you kind of saw that as well, but I did want to give you the overall full experience with Toxie here in his glory when he is glowing in the dark. So, yep, that's pretty much everything. So, overall, what are we thinking about here for accessories? Pretty good. But again, if we have a human figure, I do advocate strongly for fists and splayed hands because, let's be honest here, it's what everybody pretty much can do if you have hands. So, yeah, I do think that we should have had those. But for the price, which I do believe was about $45, so I think this one was more expensive than the original. No, it's a repaint, so not much you can say there. But if you do need stands and you do need effect parts, you know that I have videos there to help you out with your choices for what you may want to display Toxie with. Now we'll go ahead and move on over to a size comparison so you can see just how big this glow-in-the-dark version is, along with the original, with some of the other figures you just might have on your shelf, and I think he blends in just fine with some of your cartoon stuff, along with your traditional horror figures that might be in your collection. Now we'll go ahead and round out the review with a side-by-side comparison with the original Toxie and the glow-in-the-dark version. One is just glow-in-the-dark theme, the other is the original. Cool. Not a whole lot to say there, but hey, this should help seal the deal one way or another. Alright, so buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Unfortunately, the aftermarket for both the original Toxie and this one have gone up. This one, oddly enough, is a bit cheaper. I saw this on Amazon for, I think it capped out at like $57, which is pretty good. At the time of this recording though, I think it's at 65, but it has been fluctuating a little bit. The OG Toxie, 75, $80. Yeah, good luck getting that one for a good deal. Now, with that being said, I actually do prefer this one from a technical standpoint more than the original. But if I had to pick one over the other as an actual figure, I like the glow-in-the-dark one a bit more, but for a more traditional display, I obviously have to go with the original release. Which one is going to be for you? That's going to be for you to decide. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now you've heard a lot from me, I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.